me start my message out with prayer. Lord, as we heard with the kids, there are things right now that create some fear in our lives. Mostly because we don't understand. Mostly because sometimes we forget that you are in charge. Just help us, Lord, to face our fears with the faith that you teach. And we just thank you for being there through all these trying times. Amen. Okay, I've got a test I'm going to start out with you right away. And my sermon is going to, let's just call it fear. Okay, let's just call it fear. We'll figure out how that goes as I go on. Who said this? Americans will never taste security and safety unless they feel security and safety in their land. Any idea who said that? Guess what? Osama bin Laden. Think about that. He succeeded in making Americans more fearful than ever before. Never again, when we board a plane or out in public in groups, maybe open a letter, enter a stadium of some kind, will we have the innocence that we had before September 11th. Because now we think about things more so, don't we? We fear things maybe just a little bit more. So how do we learn to live with fear? To fear or not to fear? That is not the question. Only fools feel no fear. The question is, how can we use our present fears as a force of good? Fear can poison our lives with anxiety or begin a new wave of wisdom. I challenge you today, as Jesus challenged his disciples that were facing a cruel world so long ago, to face your fears today with faith. Here's a way that we can do that. Faith can help us share our fears and be around others and God. God goes for full disclosure. The light is shining in the darkness, and the good news of the Christian faith that it teaches is that sooner or later all things will come to the light. One method of conquering fear is to give your fears a name. Years ago, there was a survey done that asked people to name their fears. Americans responded this way. Said 51% of us are afraid of snakes. Probably can't argue that one. Okay. 40% of us are afraid of public speaking. I have that fear, as you can tell. 36% of us are afraid of heights. That one I'll go with. 34% of us are afraid of being in closed, small spaces. 21% of us are afraid of needles and shots. 18% of us are afraid of flying in an airplane. And I expect possibly right now the numbers are higher in a lot of those other categories. So for us, will we be wiser today to bring our fears to the surface so that we can face them with our faith? Fear is an alarm system. It's kind of like a home security system. It sounds at appropriate times for our good and for our values. Fear was designed by God to give our bodies that sudden burst of strength and speed that we need in an emergency. Fear is a natural, normal reaction to danger. So what I'm hearing from a lot of people right now is a lot of fear. And we all know why, so we don't need to visit that. What we need to never forget is that God is walking this journey with us right now. He is there. This world has been through this many times over history. And each and every time we've come out of it just fine. For a lot of us, and I've said this around some kids over the last couple of days, they look at me kind of blank because maybe it didn't happen in their lifetime, but for most of us, we've had things happen in our lifetime. Swine flu, all these different diseases that have happened. They've come, they've gone, yes. Have they been nasty? Yes, at times. If you're that percentage that really gets it and is really sick, or God forbid dies, yes, it's nasty. I'm not arguing that in any way, shape, or form. But God is with us through all of that. The good news, like I said in my message, there is a light that is coming. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. And I can't wait until we get there. But for us to get there, we have to use our heads. We can't bury our heads in the sand. Am I overexcited about what's going on? No. Because I know a couple months from now things will be good. But there are things that we need to do to take precautions and to be smart. I look out, the group that's assembled here. You did perfect today. One of the first things you need to do when you're out in public is spread out. We have clusters. Okay? That's a good thing. One of the other things we need to do, if you don't feel good, stay home. Pastor John is home today. He was scheduled to preach today. He had pink eye. He said, I'll be there. I just won't come in contact with anybody. I said, no, you're quarantined. Because that's what I'm talking about today. I said, we're going to practice what we preach here. Stay home. We'll see how the week goes. If you're not feeling well, stay home. I'll be honest, if somebody here was hacking and coughing and sneezing, I would try to send them home. Because we need to be smart. If somebody is worried, and I know there's a number of people I've heard about today and yesterday, and that asking about services, do I come, do I not? And if you're worried about it, stay home. God understands. You'll be missed, but God understands. There's a few other things that we're doing right now, too, that, to be responsible. First off, Neighborhood Center has been canceled probably at least through Easter. That, to me, makes total sense. That age group that comes to that, for the most part, is the age group that problems could arise very easily. Sunday school has, for now, been canceled for at least the next 2 weeks. We'll keep evaluating as time goes on. You noticed when you came in, the offering plates are by the doors. Think about this, passing an offering plate person to person. We're trying to cut down contact. During this worship service, and I've been struggling with this, but Holy Communion is going to be different today. I may change it again for next week. I may just say, we're not going to worry about it. Who knows? But communion today will be different. There is no way I can figure out that we could be handing out a wafer and a small cup to you and not have contact. If you can come up with a way, that's fine, and please don't tell me to use tongs. I had 2 people last night say use tongs and hand out the communion wafer. Tweezers, yes, that's even better. My hands are getting older. I just can't, that's not going to happen, okay? I kind of like on Facebook, I looked at it real quick this morning, there was a pastor that was flinging it. And everybody in the congregation looked like baby robins out there with their mouths open. No, we're not going to do that. What I'm going to do at Holy Communion is, yes, I'm going to say the words of institution. I'm going to bless the elements. I'm going to say a prayer then, asking God's forgiveness. And then I will receive communion on your behalf for now. So we eliminate the physical contact. During this time right now, for the next few weeks, we need to be responsible with what we're doing. No question about that. But in being responsible, let's also not lose our minds. Okay? That's the fear that takes over. And when fear takes over, we don't do things rationally. This will pass. I have no doubt about it. The good news, people of God, is that in China and Korea and that, this is already diminishing very quickly from what I'm hearing. It's going to happen here too, as it's happened over history. God is walking this journey with us through everything. My suggestion, somebody asked me about quilting and that, each of the groups will need to make a decision on their own of how they want to proceed here at the church. The people that are putting on a play ask, are you going to be shutting the building down? Or can we continue to rehearse? I said, that's your decision. They thanked me for that. We need to be smart in our decision making over the next couple of weeks. Yes, we have a movie night scheduled for next Friday night. Right now, I'm planning on showing the movie, the Mr. Rogers movie. But people of God, make your own decision. If you're not feeling well, don't come if you were planning on coming. If you're worried about it, don't come. There'll just be more popcorn for me. Okay? But I think you understand where I'm going with this. All worship services at the present time will continue at their normal times. If I have to do worship with nobody here, I will. Wednesday services will be at the normal time. Even though there is no neighborhood center, we'll still have a service at 11. We'll still have a service at 6:30. Yes, the soup supper this week will happen. We'll make a decision and see what happens there. If you don't feel comfortable with that, don't come to the soup supper. Come to the worship service then. My challenge with the soup supper and canceling, I'm going to be honest. It is confirmation's biggest fundraiser of the year, and they use that money to go to confirmation camp. Which still is on, by the way. They haven't canceled that one yet. But you understand, use your heads through all this. Because the good news is, we worship a very loving God that cares about each one of us. We're going to be fine, people. We're going to come out of this within the next few months. We're not going to forget about it, but hopefully we can laugh about it a little bit, because we know Jesus is walking with each one of us. And the good news is, for that we can say,